Thank you very much, and I'm delighted again to be here, as I was last June in Paris and indeed in December, to show my support for you, Madame Rajavi, and your organisation. It's a great honour to be here today at this conference. But in recent months, the world has seen people across Iran protesting against the regime and its destructive policies, not only in Iran, but across the Middle East. Despite the regime's heavy-handed crackdown and mass arrests, the protests are continuing and spreading to further cities. This signals a determination of the people to bring about the necessary changes required in Iran. Since the so-called moderate President Hassan Rouhani took office, there are no signs that he is willing or capable to make good of the promises he made to the Iranian people during the sham presidential elections, demonstrating that both factions of the regime, the so-called reformers and indeed the hardliners, are united in the repression and guaranteeing, for the moment, the theocracy's survival. But even worse, the regime has tried to rob the Iranian people of their hope and belief in a better future. But you and your movement, Madame Rajavi, have kept their hopes alive. Through your persistence and belief in the democratic values and principles, you have acted as a beacon of hope for the millions of Iranians who are on the streets today demanding a better future, and for those who are in prisons. You, Madame Rajavi, have shown the repressed people of Iran that they can challenge the theocracy if they stand united and make the principled sacrifices that are required by every nation to secure its freedom and democracy. It's the kind of we have a centenary. We have a decade of centenaries in Ireland, culminating in 1922 with our ultimate freedom as a republic ourselves. And many countries across Europe and across the world have gained their freedom. And I'm sure very soon Iran will be free of the regime that's there now. You, Madame Rajavi, have shown the oppressed people of Iran they can challenge the theocracy if they stand united and make the principal sacrifices that are required by every nation to secure its freedom and democracy. It is clear the Iranian regime cannot turn the clock to the past, and it is evident that the regime is incapable of addressing the systematic corruption and embezzlement that have crippled Iran's economy. Your movement, the PMOI and NCRI, are helping people of Iran organise their protests against the theocracy, which even the regime is now acknowledging, as has been referred to by public statements from IRGC commanders and even the Supreme Leader. The international community, particularly the EU, must take note of this and reverse their appeasement policy towards the current regime in Iran. The EU and its member states must demand the release of all protesters arrested since the beginning of the uprising in December of last year. Furthermore, the EU and its member states should support the democratic aspirations of your people by making any trade relations and business deals contingent upon immediate halt to the vicious crackdown on peaceful protest of the peaceful protesters and an end to torture and executions. Finally, I believe that the EU and the UN must act to end the culture of impunity in Iran, which they can do by identifying the perpetrators and naming and shaming them by imposing punitive measures, and demand they face justice in an internationally recognised, accountable process. I support you and your endeavours to bring democracy and freedom to Iran, and I hope that we will soon be joined by European governments, because a free and democratic Iran not just benefits Iran, but also benefits our future interests and peace in the world. Thank you very much.